Hello everyone, today in this video we will fight against the utmost character of our world around us, and this time we will talk about literature, historical literature. I mean that last year in February, at the age of 93, Mr. Cyril Mango died. He was actually British Byzantinist, and the guy was himself born in Istanbul, so previously known as Constantinople, and he came from a family with mixed origin, Italian, Balkan and so on, family of merchants making their business in the Turkish capital. And Mr. Mango, I don't know if this fact determined his life, but he dedicated his scientific activity to the Byzantine studies, with a very good outcome, and one of these outcomes is his short book, published originally in English in 1980, entitled New Rome. So this is a book about Byzantine Empire, a short one, divided in few chapters, in which the main aspects of the existence of this specific extension of Roman Empire, Christian extension, and very quickly Greek-speaking extension of the Roman Empire existed. And this is the most important to say that Mr. Mango did impossible in his book, because in such a small volume he included all and even more important information about this fabulous state and its diverse population. One should say that after reading this work, I can clearly state that early Byzantine period and middle Byzantine period are the most favorite periods of the Byzantine history for Mr. Cyril Mango. The late Byzantine period, it means after 1204, so after this treacherous Fourth Crusade, during which Crusaders betrayed their Roman, because Byzantines are actually Romans but Greek-speaking, Roman allies, and sacked the Constantinople, and it caused fragmentation of Byzantine state and the formation of Latin Empire. In the Constantinople itself as a capital, in its surroundings, and a little bit on Balkans. For Mr. Mango, like for many other Byzantines who really loved the subjects of their studies, like famous Polish founder of Byzantine studies in Poland, Kazimierz Zakrzewski, who lived in the first half of 20th century and was killed by Germans in 1941, many Byzantine scholars claim that real Byzantine state, real empire with all of the features of the empire, so universal, multi-ethnic and multicultural also character, ended with the Fourth Crusade. That's why they didn't like the late Byzantine period, because according to them it was not the same Byzantium. One can discuss this issue because it's highly debatable, but I can maybe not justify such approach, but I can understand it. And the book itself is very nicely written. Only boring chapters were, to me, were the chapters in which Mr. Mango was describing the God-fearing visions of some representatives of, in most cases, highly religious Byzantine population, how theology and deeply and profound religious character of Byzantine life reflected their perception of the world. Yeah, but these are personal interests. My interests are a little bit different. Military history was not the strongest part of Mr. Mango research activity, but political history is of Byzantium Empire is nicely summarized in this book, so he managed to do it. That's why I highly recommend this publication, which is short but very informative and nicely written. So it's enough to type in Google Cyril Mango New Rome and we will have links to this book. I really recommend you to borrow it from library or to even purchase by yourself or to download ebook, because such book should be present in the library of all admirers of Roman state. And we should remember that Byzantium is Byzantine Empire is actually an artificial name introduced in the 16th century by German humanist Hieronymus Wolff to distinguish this Roman Empire from the previous one that fell in the west in 476 AD when Odoacer detronized Romulus Augustulus, the last Western Roman emperor, and sent out the emperor insignia, regalia, to Constantinople, to the emperor in the east. That's it. So this formal, I would say, gesture for our historiography ends up the Roman Empire in the west. So some people, because you know this heritage of Aristotle, very good one, but sometimes a little bit annoying, that one needs to classify everything and put it into some categories, into some on some shelves to understand it better. That's why some people use artificial names for some historical entities to distinguish them from their previous forms. Okay, it can be debatable. I also use term Byzantine and I'm not so hostile to it, but I always emphasize that Byzantine Empire, it's still the continuation, all the time continuation till the 29th of May 1453 of the Eastern Roman Empire. All the best, have a nice day and have a nice read of very, very nice book.